reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
With Fort Vandal abandoned, we have our ground route into the Silver Wastes. We're establishing a forward camp to amass troops and supplies for our airborne assault on Mordremoth.
Let's see why we should have to take orders from mice and talking cabbages.
Happiness mode engaged.
Hello.
Welcome.
Ready for action.
Happy to meet you, hero.
Glad to have you with us.
You'll find everything you need here.
Hail, traveler.
Wake up, you motherless Edens. It's time to go.
I'd offer the traditional pirate's greeting, but your spleen is better unperforated.
You're listening to Guild Wars Reporter on the MMO Reporter Network, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMOReporter and by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon at doghousesystems.com.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Guild Wars Reporter. This is episode 171. I am Celeste, and as always I am joined by the amazing Allona.
Hello, Southern Celeste.
And this week we're also joined by the magnanimous Hunter.
I get to be magnanimous. I'm pretty sure I have, in the past, insisted on Lovely.
Yes, it's true.
But tonight we're doing a big giveaway on the stream, so I have to call you magnanimous.
That is fair. That is fair. How about magnanimously lovely?
Magnanimously lovely.
Magnanimously lovely. I stand by it.
Sounds like a plan. So Hunter, since you're here in a special capacity, you had to go first on telling us what you did this week.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I noticed that I'm going first, and I am a guest, and you don't make the guest do the dishes. You don't make the guest go first.
I think we've had this conversation before, actually.
Well, I am reiterating my complaints. So, deal.
They are logged, and now tell us what you did this week.
Oh, for God's sake. Well, I've been doing a lot of fractals with friends and working on the legendary backpack, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's a collection, and I've been doing the challenges. I had to do Jade Maw in under 5 minutes, which took a few tries. Basically, the hardest part was just getting to the Jade Maw all at the same time and not rushing in and screwing up or missing a jump.
Right.
Some other challenges like the Mossman with 80% reduced healing.
Oh, God.
Difficult, but we did it on level 2.
Oh.
So, not so bad.
Did you play with your build at all for that?
No, actually.
Hmm.
I just stayed ranged and hit him as hard as I could.
Okay.
As long as you stay ranged on Mossman, it's not that bad. Same thing for the jellyfish boss, 80% reduced healing. That was a bit harder because, I think my heal was giving me 1,000 health, and but we got through it.
You probably don't have ascended underwater weapons either.
No, I do not.
Yeah,
true. So, I need a ball of dark energy for the legendary backpack. And I've been salvaging the ascended rings to get it, which is a whole other thing. It costs a gold to salvage ascended rings, and
it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's kind of defeats the purpose of why everybody wanted the rings to be salvageable. It's just it's ridiculous. And I came to find that, you can only get the balls of dark energy off of the earrings and the amulets, not the rings, which would explain why I don't have any.
Did you rage?
No, but I got stabilizing matrices out of the rings, which you'd need as well for various things. So I got that, but I didn't get as many stabilizing matrices as I would have liked, because they're pretty cheap on the auction house compared to the cost of salvaging them out.
So you're better just buying them at this stage?
at this stage, if the price remains fairly low. Moving on, I will also spend a lot of time getting my alts into the zones, doing like the first story step so I can get that out of the way, and then just moving them around to hero points and unlocking the specializations, getting to the flax farms, and getting a lot of hero points and vistas and whatever free XP I can get my hands on for the masteries, which I have leveled. I've completed gliding.
Mm-hmm.
I've got level 3 in every other one, I think, which is pretty good.
That is like, yeah. I'm oh dear, I should actually show you what I have, because you would.
Don't show him; he'll get angry.
You will be very sad at how little I've accomplished.
I would be very disappointed. Yeah, you're right. I have mastery level 81. What's your mastery level?
I have no idea. I'd have to log in for it. It's probably like, I don't know, 18. I have
it
no
basically
idea.
Just counts how many mastery points you've used on masteries.
Oh yeah, not that many. I'd have to log in. It's not very high. It might be double digits.
Yeah, I looked at mine compared to everybody else in the party when I was doing the story with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the lowest at 10.
Oh, so I was double. What was mine at? Do you remember?
It's like 18 or 19, I think.
I mean, you see random people with like 100 or whatever.
Yeah.
The only one I'm in a guild with that has a higher mastery level than me is Spirit, Dungeon Sherpa Extraordinaire.
And also your competition.
Yes, my rival. But moving on, I have also been working on the various legendary collections, mostly Quip, which I completed the first tier of the collection, and then I got the recipe for it. And it's like 15 Delgemore steel, 10 spearwood planks, and 10 Allonian leather. And I'm a little burnt out from all like the high costs that Arena has for every single cool thing. Like, you can't have anything cool without spending a fortune on it.
That does get weary.
Well, it's almost too bad that because Allonian leather's gone up a fair bit in price.
Yeah.
If you had known that prior, you could have just, because you have a ton of cash.
Yeah, but well, they increased the cost of Ascended gear in general, and it's just like, why? There was no need to do that, but
I agree.
Damask is already high, so I guess their idea was, well, if Damask is so high, let's make Allonian leather just as high. Yeah, it's just like...
Quiet rage.
Yeah.
Quiet rage.
The first tier of Quip to craft Quip is like, what, 3? The equivalent of about 3 Ascended weapons?
Wow.
That seems like a lot to me. I mean, I've already done the collection for the first tier. Why do I have to make it like 3 Ascended weapons? I mean, I was hoping the difficulty would be more centered on the actual collection aspect, not the crafting the weapon aspect. But yeah, the collection aspect is not difficult at all. Basically, I just did content and then ate candy corn and puked everywhere.
Yay!
Like all achievements should be.
Which was amusing, it's funny, but was not difficult.
And really does suit the clown gun.
I suppose.
It
Quip
does.
has always been such a love-hate thing.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Pew pew.
The other thing I've been doing all week is adventures. Like, I've been doing them every day for experience, because you can get 50,000 a day if you can get gold on it.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
If you can get gold.
Right.
But I can't get gold on all of them. I can get gold on 2 or 3. Like Salvage Pit. Celeste, I know you like Salvage Pit.
Yes, I do.
Can you get gold on that?
I actually haven't done it since the game went live. I found this other one that I really like, and I've been doing that one. I suck at it, but I like it.
Which one's that?
It's the like little dirt bike one.
Oh, is that drone race?
Yes.
I've never done that one.
It's fun.
It's in Tangled Depths.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just found it and I was like, ooh, this is fun. Let's do this for an hour and a half.
So if you get gold, you get like the first time on an adventure. If you get all of it, you get like 150,000 experience.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm lucky if I get bronze most of the time.
Mm-hmm. I got gold on the drone race after a few tries. I think that's one where you can sort of, like, after a little bit of practice, you can pretty easily get gold.
Says you.
After some practice, I mean, it took me like 5 runs, I would say. I don't know how you did, Celeste.
I was about to curse. Pretty terribly.
Yeah, well, I think once you have it all memorized, you'll be fine. And you were doing great at Salvage Pit in the beta. So I'm pretty sure you can get gold, because I finished it the other day in like 41 seconds.
Wow. And, do you have speed mushrooms, though? Does that make a difference in that one?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I don't have that yet.
Oh, well, that does make things much easier.
I get gold fairly regularly with that one, but I also have... That's my savantness kicking in when it comes to things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all you did?
That's basically what I did this week.
Yeah. And doing stuff with guilds.
Yes. Like what? Guild missions?
Yeah, you did guild missions with us, didn't you?
I think I did a bounty or something, but I don't...
On Saturday? Yeah. Well, I'm going to go next.
Yeah.
I did a few of the adventures for the first time. The Salvage Pit was the one I had done, obviously, like, fairly early on, but Hunter decided I needed to do more of them and basically took me around to, like, 3 or 4 of them. Was it, Hunter?
We did
Bugs in the Branches.
Torching the Tendrils.
Yeah, Torching the Tendrils, Bugs in the Branches. We did Salvage Pit again. And there was the race in Auric Basin.
Oh, Fungus Among Us or something?
Yeah. And then there was one other one, wasn't there? Or was that it?
Kick stuff into the lava? The floor is lava?
The floor is lava, yeah, where you have to go on to mushrooms and stuff. Mm-hmm. And they were all... We basically just did them long enough to give me a taste for them. Mm-hmm. Although I got further along in Bugs in the Branches than you had ever gotten. You were irritated with me.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
I like that one too. It's pretty fun.
But I will say I only got as far as I did because you gave me your starter route that you take.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference.
Yeah, the route on that one is pretty
important.
Yeah, I love teaching people how to do stuff until they are better than me at it. That's great.
So you would make a terrible dungeon Sherpa.
I have been dungeon Sherpaing mock for ages, so...
That's true.
It is. You're the original Sherpa. You're the Sherpa hipster. I had 2 nights of doing guild missions. So Saturday we did missions with Mock. We're going to be doing guild missions on Sunday nights, but this week it just kind of didn't work out that way. So, So there weren't any fractals or fungeons for me this week. I think some of the guildies got together to do it on maybe Sunday night. And Monday did guild missions with Maven. And there was the reset in between there. So I got rewards for both. Yay! When the rewards worked. Although I will say that the 2 times that Mock has done them, other than the rush having to go back and forth through the final gate a few times before getting triggered. Oh, wait, no, there were some people that didn't get rewards.
Yeah, I didn't get rewards for a puzzle I did with Relics of Ore.
Yeah. It almost seems like the larger guilds have more of a problem with people not getting rewards than smaller guilds or smaller groups.
Yeah, possibly.
So,
There's a lot of people there.
That was a lot of fun. And then there were a couple pathetic games of Stronghold on Guild Missions night. Oh my god, they were so sad. Oh, we lost so badly. And on the one PvP match that's in Conquest, I really like being on the trebuchet. And I'm, at least to my mind, really good at the trebuchet. Unless I see people running towards me, I'm like, peace out, brothers. And I like let them have the trebuchet and I run away. Because that's the way I roll. But I will say trebuchet in Stronghold is a completely different animal. I have not figured it out yet. So I was terrible. Probably one of the reasons we did very poorly. We were all over the map, no pun intended. It was disaster across the board. However, the good thing was for guild missions that week, it was just to channel the hero. So it was like, I don't care if we lose, just channel a hero.
All the channels.
Just channel. Channel like your heart can't channel no more. And that was it. So it was like, I don't care if we lose. Losing isn't an option. Well, losing was the only option, really.
Right, yeah.
Then I completed the story without getting any spoilers, which I'm very happy about.
Which is, yeah, I got a couple tiny spoilers, so...
I don't think I did. I know I was like spoiler adjacent, like someone had said something in chat that other people called out, so I knew not to look down. And... at the slightest hint of anything I perceived as spoilers, I would shush people pretty aggressively, though. So, to my guildies, if any of you are listening, I'm sorry if you were on the receiving end of my obsessiveness, because I was really obsessive about shushing people.
I know we had problems with people in other guilds talking freely about stuff and spoiling it for people because of the new guild chat system. They weren't really thinking about what other people in other guilds not representing were seeing.
Actually, until I finished the story, I shut off most guild channels unless...
Oh, that's right. You said you shut off Relics of War because there's a bit of a chatty Cathy in Relics of War.
Well, and I just in general, like I do like it there generally, but I just didn't want to see anything pop up there, so well, this kind of goes more to when we're going to be talking about the story later on. And spoiler alert, there is going to be spoilers later in the show. But we will give plenty of notice for that. As I just said now.
Yep.
But I also did most of the story in invisible mode.
I know.
Because it was too distracting otherwise. So I just like, I'm not really here.
Yeah, I remember... I guess it was Monday. I was waiting for you to get on. Just waiting. It's like, well, I just wanted to try and do the instance together, but Harris not online. Okay. And like 5 minutes into the instance, you messaged me, done. And I'm like, what?
I'm a terrible person. I didn't realize you were waiting for me. Oh, well, yeah. But that's all I did. And now it's your turn, Celeste. Go! You have 2 minutes.
Well, it'll be quite easy to fill it all in, to be perfectly honest. I did a lot of putzing around that I don't remember anything about. It obviously wasn't that important.
The stuff and things.
Stuff and things. I don't know. Just stuff. Harvesting potatoes a lot and doing events here and there. As a catch-and-catch can sort of situation. Mm-hmm. And I also finally finished the story after having, oh god, terrible experience trying to get the last one done.
You were frustrated.
Yeah, I don't think you were the only person that had trouble with that, because it could be a slightly, I don't want to say buggy, but like twitchy.
Well, I had disconnects in that one instance about 3 times, and that really... soured it after a while.
The word I would use is unforgiving.
Yes, it's a very unforgiving instance.
I jumped into one of the updrafts.
Oh, wait. We're getting ahead of ourselves for spoilers. Yes. Let's leave this for later.
Right, fine.
Yeah. So I finished the story. We have feelings. we'll talk about it later. So let's go ahead and talk about when we live stream. We live stream at 9:30 p.m. EST, 6:30 p.m. PST at twitch.tv/MMO Reporter. You can subscribe to the audio version of the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you feel like subscribing.
Probably places we don't even know where we exist.
Exactly. We're probably on whatever service you have.
Yeah, I'm not even...
We're still on Zune.
What?
What?
It's got old art, but we're still on Zune.
We rock the Zune.
I'm so glad to hear that. Because I got my Zune right here, and I'm going to download the podcast onto my Zune.
In case people were curious. So you can rate and review us so that people know that we're a real podcast and we speak real English words and that we're on the freaking Zune marketplace still. Like you do.
Zune.
All the hipsters are using Zune now.
The Sherpa hipsters.
Think we're ready for another attack?
From land, air, or sea, we won't be caught off guard again.
Report from Lion's Arch.
Long live Lion's Arch.
So there was news about raids this week. Not only the raids themselves, but also the rewards that we will be getting in raids. So, huzzah! The first raid wing, called Spirit Vale, will be coming to the game on the 17th of November. That is, as of this recording, 6 days away.
Mm-hmm.
6 days.
Mm-hmm.
Astralaria, Hope, and Nevermore collections will also be live at that time.
I'm definitely going after Hope right away.
Even with your whole quip thing?
Yeah.
The first article says the first time you kill each raid boss in a week, you'll receive access to the boss chest, which contains the boss's loot. This chest can only be earned the first time you kill the boss each week and will reward experience, gold, rare and exotic items, and a chance at ascended gear and unique boss rewards. Hooray, rewards!
So I see a distinct lack of blues and greens there.
Yeah.
I don't
know. My opinion of where reward should be and Arena's opinion of where reward should be have diverged lately.
Yes, that's true.
And 2 gold per week. No, that's low. Like, if you're in there often helping your guild out and you get nothing?
Well, we haven't even got to that point yet, though, buddy.
Okay, well.
You're totally jumping ahead with your rage.
Well, it says right
Bottle
there,
it up. Bottle it up.
Yeah, just cap it. It'll be out soon.
You can hear my heavy sighing, so everybody knows your impression that you did of me earlier is accurate.
Well, they all knew it was accurate.
Bosses will drop from a pool of ascended armors and weapons, where you will be able to choose between 4 new stats. Assaulter and Malicious provide offensive-oriented sets like Berserker, Assassin, Sinister, Viper, and other similar attribute combinations. Defender is, obviously, defense-oriented. And then Healer Gear is for healers.
And I was like, hooray, more stat sets for me to never remember what they do.
Exactly.
I am the worst for this. Luckily I have, well, you're pretty good at remembering, Hunter, and Saint in the guild is like a savant with these things.
Mm-hmm.
He remembers. I have no idea how people do this. First time you kill each boss in a week, you will receive, big surprise, according to Hunter, 2 gold and a Compendium of Knowledge. The Compendium of Knowledge awards a large amount of experience toward your currently equipped mastery and is automatically consumed when you pick it up. What? I'm just reading that section. No, you can't. Similar to a Writ of Meguma Mastery. Additionally, the gold and Compendium of Knowledge rewards are doubled by the Call of the Mists effect. The reward will also be increased if you're playing the newest raid release. Now you may go.
Compendium Knowledge is okay, but pretty soon that's going to be fairly useless because I'm almost done leveling my masteries. So, that's going to be worthless if I max out my masteries. I'm a hardcore player, so I understand that there's going to be a lot of people that's going to be really useful for.
When I read that and was reading what you had done this week, I'm like, oh.
But yeah, so it's a mixed bag. Good for people who need it, but not for most of the people who are going to be raiding, because I feel like most people who are going to be raiding are as hardcore as I am.
I also thought it was interesting that it's automatically consumed, so it's not like the Tomes of Knowledge where
you can save them up and use them on the next expansion or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or just trade them in for, is it
Tomes of Knowledge?
Yeah, I thought you could trade the Tomes of Knowledge in for something, though.
Oh. Or no, just the Writs of Experience. Writs of Experience for Tomes of Knowledge.
Oh, okay. You know what? I totally understand why they are doing the automatically consumed, specifically to just like, you get them or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
One such unique reward that can be obtained in Spirit Vale is an infusion that, when equipped, will provide your character with a ghostly aura. I need this.
Similar to the other items, like Unce's necklace that was dropping from top bags during Halloween and the previous Halloween.
What? I never even heard about this.
You don't know about Unce's amulets?
No.
They give you like a green aura or a red or blue, I think.
I've seen those things and I didn't know how people did them.
You get an Unce necklace and you salvage out the component that's in it with like a master salvage kit or whatever, and then you just insert it into, I think, an amulet, but you could do it in jewelry of other types. I'm not sure. Oh, and there's the bee thing too. I don't know the name of it, but there's like something you can get from Vine Wrath, I think, and you can salvage out or do you need to salvage it? Okay, so my memory's a little sketchy on the subject, but but it'll give you a swarm of bees that flies around you.
Huh. I had not even heard of that.
No, it's very rare. Super expensive on the auction house, I believe.
Yeah. So I think someone's just mentioning that in chat. The
Queen bee,
Malaka dude, the queen bee.
Yeah, something like that.
Guild decorations will also be a raid reward, but not available upon release. So eventually,
at some point.
Most guild decorations aren't really available right now.
Well,
so expensive and difficult to get.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Mm.
In addition to the weekly boss chest, a new map currency called Magnetite Shards is awarded for playing content in the raid. Magnetite Shards can be earned by killing bosses and completing events in the raid instance, and small amounts are awarded for failed boss attempts based on how close your group gets to defeating the boss. Magnetite shards are not restricted by the weekly lockout that limits boss rewards, but the amount of shards that can be earned each week is capped.
I think it's interesting that they're rewarding people for like how close they get instead of just a base thing for failure.
That's pretty good, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So there's an NPC that you can unlock after a mastery is done that I presume you can spend the currency with.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. This currency is not intended as a primary way to obtain the boss rewards, but it is intended to provide a means for people unlucky with drops, me, to be able to work toward getting a specific reward that they desire.
Another currency.
Yes. I like what Celeste put in here.
Get your pity rewards here.
I'm all about the pity rewards. Pity me, give me rewards. I have the rewards of sadness. Rewards of sadness. That's a good name. Another point to be made about rewards of sadness is that you have individual loot tables, so you're not competing against your teammates for the best gear/drops, which...
sort of normal for Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, I wouldn't have assumed anything less.
It's like they were directing that specifically at former WoW players or something.
Pretty much.
That could be.
On Legendary Armor, same sort of collections as the Legendary Weapons, and it unlocks as soon as you kill your first raid boss. This collection is the first step on the journey to Legendary Armor, and will require many feats within the first several raid wings, as well as elsewhere in the Maguma jungle. Completion of the first collection will span the first 3 raid wings. Once completed, it will award a set of Ascended Precursor Armor and unlock the next stage of the journey.
Woo! There will be different gifts compared to the other legendaries, so you'll need to make them with NPC faction provisioners in Maguma that will guide you along the way.
Yes.
And I kind of like all the chat talking about, oh, thank goodness, another currency.
Oh, yes.
We
exactly what we needed.
We were so low on those. At the very least, if they're going in the wallet, I have no problem with them adding more currencies.
Yeah, as long as it goes straight in.
And then we need to have like a whole combination of economic joining, and like basically a euro needs to be created that could cover all the currencies.
Okay, yeah. Interesting way to put that. I don't think you can do it though, because different currencies are worth different amounts for different things. So it's
euro.
Yeah, but euro is like a straight up, the dinar is worth this much to the pound.
But prior to the adoption of the euro, that was certainly the case with each individual currencies as well.
I don't know. I feel like geodes.
The Tyro.
It's not a direct comparison. Like, you could get direct comparisons between currencies before they joined the euro, but you can't get a direct comparison between a geode and Bandit Crest.
Way to logic my joke out. Hunter.
Okay.
That was a good Hunter impression.
That's all we have to say about raids and raid currencies.
Yeah. Now let's go ahead and move along to the guild chat that happened last Friday, and it was about jungle creatures.
I was super excited about this.
Really?
At first.
Oh.
I don't really like to see how the donuts are made.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I just... it was interesting, but I'm not super enthusiastic about that episode.
Oh, see, I was really excited to see the subject matter, but we're going to talk further down about where this ended up with me.
Creature artist Ronald Curry and animator / puppet master Brian Walter joined host Ruby Bear to talk about creature design in the jungle environments.
Yeah.
So concept artists really lay the foundation for inspiration for the creature artist to come in and create something unique, or sometimes they take the creature straight from the concept art. Which I like that they kind of do both, because it's nice to see that there's some wiggle room in there and it's not like, here's the concept, you gotta make it.
I don't know. I really like it when they stay very close to the concept art.
I think they probably do, to a certain degree.
A lot of the time, yeah.
Yeah.
Modeling animation and skills is the simplest way to summarize the creature creating process. And there's a limited time to collaborate between these processes, but there are a lot of times when the creature has been meshed out and it goes straight to the animators. But they can go back and forth and be like, well, if you change this little bit here, I can do something way cooler. And they have that back and forth of working together, which I found really cool.
Ronald said, when it comes to creatures and characters, if you think about a puppet, the model is the actual physical puppet. Then you have someone come in to sculpt it, paint it, model it all pretty, and then the rigger is the one that creates the strings that connects the puppet. Then the animator is the one that becomes the puppeteer. They were using that to describe the main parts that bring these creatures to life.
Yeah.
And that was a great analogy.
It really is. And I know it takes a lot of work, but I didn't realize that it was basically like 3 separate departments coming together to make a creature. You kind of think that it's going to be somebody that kind of takes it from beginning to end, within one department. And it's like, no, that's not how it works at all.
Nope. That changes hands all over the place.
Exactly. Now, to describe some rigging that gets to be reused, they talked about the little mushroom guys.
Who are adorable and kill me.
With their little butts.
Oh, they're so cute.
And they are actually on the rigging for a skrit.
Which blew my mind.
And that allows the animators to borrow animations and adjust them as needed, which I thought was kind of like, man, I need to go look at mushrooms and see if they look more like skrit now.
when you think about kind of script kind of bounce back and forth a little bit when they stand still, and the mushrooms do that too, so I guess that makes sense. I will say, however, I am a little disappointed in the mushrooms because in the trailers we were promised really adorable mushroom bums, and we hardly ever get to see those because they're so small.
This is very true. Yeah.
So that's my only problem with the mushrooms right now.
We need more mushroom butts.
Yes, that and the fact that they murder me.
Start a petition.
Yes, we need to be able to see the mushroom bums more.
Yes.
Well, you can do the Mushroom King hero point as soon as you get into Auric Basin. That should be enough.
I will look for that.
You will look for that? You don't know that one? It's like the...
I must have missed it every single time I've been there.
What? Okay.
Is that the one at the Whispers camp?
No, there's no Whispers camp right next to it.
Okay, well then I have no idea what you're talking
Auric
about.
Basin, not Tangled Depths. Okay, moving on.
Ruby went on to say, when do you decide you need to make a new rig versus using an existing one? They had budget of how many creatures they wanted to create for Heart of Thorns. When a creature is truly unique and needs to have the extra movement points and has to have a new rig and a whole new silhouette, that's when we'll decide it needs to happen. So their silhouettes and motion have a lot to do with what will make that decision. So if you have something in game that might work proportionately and somewhat follow the same silhouette, but you're adding a ton of other things to it, you might as well make a new rig.
Yeah.
Such as?
The Wyvern, of course, needed a new rig because there's not really anything like it in the game previous to this.
I would say that by virtue of making that rig for the Wyvern, they did end up reusing it because they made the adolescent Wyverns that they could use for the pets.
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. Hashtag the arrowhead. I don't know if the arrowhead did they they mention the roly ones, which I presume are the arrowheads, which are my favorite.
It must be new, I would have to imagine, because
it has to be
with that length
that rolls.
Yeah, it has the roll and the tail swipe and stuff like that, so it probably needed a new rig.
Okay, this is a bit of a segue. But the reason I love the arrowheads with their rolling is because every time they roll, even if they smash me, I always think and they all rolled over and one fell out. You know, that children's. So, that goes through my roll over every single time the thing rolls over me. So it doesn't, I can't even be mad.
It seems to me like I play with you a lot, and you've got a lot of children's nursery rhymes going through your head just all the time.
Yeah, I don't even have children either for an excuse for that.
And it always just makes me think of a dog rolling around in grass or garbage trying to get like the best amount of scent on them, you know?
I'm fortunate that my puppy does not do that. She is too much of a princess, but I do know dogs such as Ems who does do that.
Watson
does that all the time. He gets lots of baths.
Yeah.
So much of the animation is really amazing, looking at all the different levels of doneness, which I agree. Especially when they showed it was the riders, showing those in the less done stage and the more done stage to show the smoothness and the fact that they are a single unit.
Yeah, I like that too. Not a mount, one creature.
Let's be real though. Gliders are mounts, so I'm not really disappointed that the mounts for the Modrum are one unit and not two.
Yeah, this was not a slight against people that really want mounts. I just thought that was interesting that they pointed that out. They were still a single unit, even though they separated at points.
Meh.
Apparently.
It's hard to impress me, that's all.
Apparently. And there was another creature that they called a brain bug. I don't think I've run into it in the game yet.
I haven't spent a lot of time in Dragonstand, so I assume it's in Dragonstand.
So it's blobby, wiggly, wriggling bug thing. Yeah. And the rigging is when all the moving parts are established. And I thought I saw one in the story. And if it was what I saw, it is tiny compared to what I saw on screen. So it may not have been, but I thought for sure I saw it at one point.
Well, the jelly movement on the back was like really, yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it on the new Hawk either. I was like, ooh.
Oh, see, it doesn't bother me on the new Hawk, but these ones. But I will say I love Starship Troopers a lot. And so this, the brain bug.
It's scared.
Oh, jeez.
It's scared. You have to yell it after that, though.
Oh, that's right. He does yell it.
Yeah, he says it quiet and then yells it for the crowd. Such a good movie. I mean, it's awful, but I love it.
I don't think it's awful at all. I think maybe the main protagonist is awful, and then everyone else is pretty awesome. They just like see the furniture and they start chewing on it.
One of the Golden Girls.
What?
One of the Golden Girls is in it. She's one of the teachers in the school, and she's like, awesome.
Oh,
what?
Ruth McClanahan?
I don't remember that.
Oh yeah, she's got like a cybernetic eye. She's great.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Anyway, nothing to do with the game.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Well,
I guess it did segue reasonably well, but
they also shared a spoiler boss.
And we're not going to say what it was.
Are we mad about it, though?
I am. Because this was huge, because there was no warning. They went, and then there's this! And it is something that is hugely spoilery for the story if you haven't progressed.
It's a definite plot point.
It's a huge plot point. I had gotten to the point where I'd experienced this, but Cal was sitting with me, and he, of course, has not at this point. And I yell at him to look away as I'm like going for the for the remote control to like try shut it down as fast as I can. But by that time, he's already seen, and he was like, "I think I know what I saw." And he's since got further enough in the story to be like, "Yeah, it was what I thought it was." Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh man.
Well, and Ruby even says what it is, and I'm like, if you hadn't said that.
No, he knew before she even said that, because there are features that are very unique.
That's true.
So I don't think that made it any worse.
I'm sure Reddit exploded and went on a witch hunt for Ruby, and everyone feels terrible about it, but it's not that big a deal, is it?
It's a pretty big deal.
I don't know that limitations have gone off on spoilers yet, just by the fact that we're still trying to not spoil people.
It was a little early. I mean, launch is less than 2 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago or something.
At the very least, to maybe not mention it first. Just like, by the way, we may show a creature that is very specific to the story. If you want to not watch it until
I'm sure
done.
They just made a mistake and to feel sorry about it.
I hope so. They know what they did.
They should feel bad about it.
It was a little disappointing. But, I mean, now that it's to the point where I haven't actually finished watching the episode because I had to, I basically burned the episode with fire at that point to make sure it got off the TV.
Well, they spent a fair amount of time talking about Gorseval as well, who's going to be a raid boss.
Mm-hmm. Is that Tung Thulu?
Tung Thulu is apparently made mostly of arms. Creature arms.
Well, one of the other creatures they showed had, a pair of arms crossed over the chest, in addition to its normal arms. I'm not sure what the fascination is, because they said that one of the other creatures is made of feet or something, did they? Hands,
yeah.
Arms.
The vine tooth, wasn't?
I believe so.
Yeah. So some sort of fascination.
It really
with
disturbing.
Limbs. Yeah. Tentacles and limbs.
Wow.
A lot of anime fans here is what I'm seeing.
A lot of hentai fans.
Yeah. They also talked about how directional impact animations, they're not used in the game very much. So, if you're taking a hit from the right rather than the left, it's going to make, the same animation. Unless it's from a pushback. Because they just don't put that into the game. So, yeah.
There was... Well, actually, there's been a couple updates to the Black Lion Trading Company, which we haven't covered previously. So there's a bunch of new things in the store. most recently, there has been a Lissa outfit added for 700 gems. And I drool.
Really? You drool? Because I thought it looked like a 1970s Doctor Who villain.
Drool. When I was talking with you the other night, I was saying there was this character in the Royal Terrace. I loved their armor because I didn't know what it was. I'm like, is this one of the new armors in the game? Because this is super gorgeous. And it was actually the Lissa outfit. They just didn't have the headpiece on. And the way they dyed it, it was so beautiful.
How many new outfits is that since launch? 2 or 3?
Well, since Heart of Thorns launch, 3.
Yeah, I hate to just be negative about new outfits because the outfits are cool, but feels like there's way more emphasis on outfits than on armor.
Didn't they put 4 or 5 new armors into the game, and there's also legendary armor coming in very shortly?
Yeah, but I feel like there should be more armors than 5 new sets for the expansion. I don't know. That's me.
No, I tend to agree. And the Lissa outfit just makes me think of Varish. And the Azura get male version. And I don't like that.
I 100% agree with you on the whole Azura and Char just getting the dude version of things. I think it's my bugaboo. I want a third different option that is specific to Char and Azura that is neither male or female, just neutral.
I feel like there's a statistician at ANET, and they figure out, nobody plays Asura, so don't bother making a female version of that.
You know why no one buys? You know why Azuras don't wear it? Because the female Azura characters look dumb in them, so they don't even put those ones on. Dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm all about looking like Varish.
Okay, please don't hurt me. You were so angry there for a second.
I have feelings about the whole...
Apparently. Holy crap.
I want to wear the Noble Court outfit on my Azura female Necro, and it looks super dumb on her. Because it's just a tuxedo.
Well, it's the same thing with, female outfits for Asura and underwater weapons and other stuff that they have begun to neglect because nobody really wants some legendary underwater weapons.
But here's the thing, though. I will agree, when they make an outfit that is for each gender, that is specific to the race, like the wedding outfit, bang up job. They look fantastic. Top marks across the board. When they give the Azura female-based armor that have a boob window, it looks weird. But also just throwing them in the male outfits also looks weird. So,
Can I ask you this? Are you annoyed that there's not going to be any new underwater legendaries? I mean, because it's the same thing, kind of. But I feel like you care about the Asura things because you like Asura, but you don't care about underwater legendaries because you don't care about that they're not going to make any new ones.
I do care about that. I also don't think they're necessarily closing the door on that forever. So I have kind of hope for that. Whereas this is kind of
Pretty sure they officially said they're not making any new underwater legendaries.
They said that specifically for the next set, for set 2.
Well...
No, I know. It could go on forever.
Set 3.
That's what I feel they kind of left the door open a little bit on that one.
Oh, you always say that, though. You always feel like, I bet they left the door open. But no, they're not leaving the door open, Allona. The door is not open.
It
Hunter,
may be open.
It's on the table.
It is on the table.
Well, the table is code for it's not on the table.
Also, I'm equally irritated by the boob windows on Char when they give the Char female outfits that don't fit. I would just, for Azura and Char, I'm totally fine with a neutral, if they each have the same outfit, but if that outfit does not default to dude. That's all I'm saying.
All right. No, I agree with that much.
Going back to the Black Lion Trading Company, flutes. They have a full set of harvesting flutes for 1,000 gems each. There's the Firefly Mining Flute, Butterfly Harvesting Flute, and Swarm Logging Flute. Call upon butterflies to help you harvest plants, fireflies to burst open ore nodes, or a swarm of insects to shred trees. And I, on Delphi, watched the video of each of the tools. And it's like, oh, the Yaz flute. The smooth jazz flute stylings of Tyria. They're both irritating and adorable at the same time. I kind of love them. But they're 1,000 gems.
I haven't listened to them, although I'm actually kind of considering it just because it's something very different.
You basically Yaz flute at the object, and then insects do the work for you.
I kind of like that.
Do you guys have multiple infinite tools for different characters?
I do.
I don't.
I mostly just have 3 for one character, and I just gather on one character.
Mm-hmm.
I still gather on all of my characters, but like on the one that I use the most, that one has the infinite tools.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 sets of the infinite tools.
Jesus.
But yeah, I have a problem with my credit card.
Apparently.
I am the reason people are employed. Yeah. So anyway, that's new to the gem store.
Yes.
Do you require my assistance?
Ask an Asura.
Excelsior.
So we got a few tips from Jawa a few weeks ago about the Auric Basin, but we didn't want to share it because we didn't want to send out any kind of spoilers or ruin any neat little things for people who might not have seen it yet. So if you haven't been to Auric Basin, you may just want to go ahead and stop listening to the rest of this episode because it gets even more spoilery further down the line.
I'm nodding. I'm like, yes. Yes, that is a good tip.
There's a small, not widely known benefit to finishing Scholar Keenwit's event chain after unlocking Northwatch. After the druid cleanses the Maguma waters, it bestows stacks of a beneficial proc buff on all players who enter the waters. Any waters on the map.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was kind of like, oh, okay. The buff is called Maguma Guardian, and when it's active, it will boost your power and toughness. The waters stay cleansed until the end of Attack on Tyria, so the entire time that you're doing Attack on Tyria, you can use it.
Yeah, I had no idea you could just jump into a fountain in Tyria and replenish the stacks.
Yeah, and it goes up to like 25 stacks.
Blah!
So
that's a lot.
Pretty good. Although I think that's just to indicate duration.
Yeah. During the attack on Tyria, if you are defeated in battle and can't get revived, we got a few tips. This is continuing on that. You can head to the Wanderer's Waypoint in the Tarnished Treetop. If you have the mastery for bouncing mushrooms and exalted markings, go just southwest of the camp. There's a ledge accessed by a bouncing mushroom. There you'll find exalted teleporters that will bring you back to the 4 plazas of Tyria. The teleporters are one way. They can be used except during Trial by Fire.
Yeah, so if you're on Trial by Fire story step, you have to not use them, I guess. And if you lose an enchanted armor during the battle, you can get the Tarnished enchanted armor, which has less health, by going back up to the city gates. Either waypoint to the outpost and grab one on the way into the city, or take the exalted teleporter at the edge of each plaza, which will bring you back up to the city gate.
The final tip is when fighting bristlebacks solo, turn off melee assist and move into the Saurian a little. It'll help reduce getting hit by its shooting shards. So basically, it kind of makes sense. Like if someone's shooting an arrow at you, if you're standing right up next to them, it's not going to do as much damage as if you're further away.
Yeah, it kind of messes with line of sight a little bit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Tales of Tyria.
And now, spoilers!
Spoilers!
All the spoilers! Okay, we're really serious about spoilers.
Yes.
All 3 of us have finished story.
Yes.
Hunter much
Yes.
sooner than us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of sum up a few of the problems that I had with the story. Don't get me wrong. Overall, I enjoyed the expansion. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying. But I am terribly disappointed with the scope of the story. I understand it was meant to be digested probably more slowly than I did, but I took my time.
You did it in chunks, though. Like, you didn't necessarily take your time, but you marathoned when you did do it.
When I could go to the next step without having to complete another mastery, yeah, because I wanted to play the story, because that's what I like about expansions.
Mm-hmm. And the story was immersive.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there was so many times that I tried to talk to characters that were with me physically, and going up and hitting F at them. That is not you know what I mean.
Yeah, we know what you mean.
And there was nothing. No dialogue, not even a greet response, nothing.
And I was actually okay with that because it signaled to me that I never had to worry about that. Everything I needed to get from the story was being presented to me already.
Yeah, they're speaking out loud when they have something to say, which was cool.
Like, I find it really interesting that we had opposite reactions to that, though, because honestly, for me, it was like, oh, thank God, I don't have to remember to click on every single character.
But they trained us to do that.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And the problem with it is that because you couldn't get more story, more dialogue, like I know they were limited with the number of voiceover lines that they could get from actors.
Mm-hmm. Well, because they were doing the branching story between Sylvari player versus not Sylvari player.
Yes, and I understand that, which is why I thought, oh, great, they'll have some more flavor dialogues put in as text. After a major story beat, you go and you talk to the people that are nearby, and they'll, tell you how they're feeling about it, or give you some insight into what's going on in their head. And it's like, none of that was present.
I totally understand. I do. But it actually was a relief to me that wasn't there. That I didn't have to worry about it.
I'm not happy about that at all.
Yeah.
Mostly because it seemed like half of the characters were completely absent most of the time.
Yeah, I would not say no to more detail. I mean...
Yeah.
Maybe Allona is relieved that she didn't have to click on anything. But I would never say no to more.
It just felt like it was a very...
linear?
Extremely linear story with almost no padding or fluff or flavor.
Well, have you done any of the achievements?
I have done a few of the achievements, and some of them do add a lot of really interesting side notes.
Mm-hmm.
So that maybe is where they're putting them. So maybe if they had expressed that up front, would that have alleviated some of your...
It adds a bit, but it's mostly to bring in more Sylvari interaction from the ones I've played. And that's not necessarily disappointing to me, but we already get a lot from Canuck, especially if you're playing as a Sylvari. Like, you're constantly having banter with Canuck.
Oh, Canuck.
And Marjorie and Casimir are pretty much mute the entire campaign.
Until Dragon Stand.
Even then.
They were very vocal in mine.
They didn't talk hardly at all if you're a Sylvari.
Well, maybe that's interesting.
Yeah.
I just think you two are having different memories of the same thing. Because I think they talked like a medium amount, so...
Yeah.
Okay.
But you went through as a Sylvari, didn't you, Hunter?
No, human.
Maybe the human characters don't talk as much with a Sylvari player character.
Well, there was already the veiled speciesism that was revealed during the beta weekends, where Marjorie would flat out say, like, I don't trust the Sylvari at all if you're there as a non-Sylvari. Whereas she doesn't say anything if you are a Sylvari.
That's interesting. Maybe I need to play through a few more with some alts to notice the differences between Sylvari versus not Sylvari. But I'm wondering, that could be where the difference is, though?
Maybe, but Timey was basically there for Radanovis.
Yes,
and
well...
that's it. Like, shoehorning in her saving Braum. I was like, what?
It made sense because they've said in previous things that they can't have her in the big fights because of her age.
Yeah.
So they needed to have her do something. And I love the Radanovis stuff. So I was like, yay. Also, her dialogue in the Auric Basin
yes.
was fantastic.
Is it recording? Is the light on?
For instance, not saying that is exactly what I was thinking, but it was exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. Is the Norn head shaving as a
morning
thing? Is that like normal?
I didn't know about it, but the way it was presented, it just like, oh, this is a thing.
Yeah.
So maybe it was if we don't give it too much exposition, but just state it at, oh, this is a thing, then they're setting the precedence there.
It just kind of was like, oh, well, a little bit of story there would have been nice.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit of story in a lot of different places would have been really nice.
Oh, so we've kind of jumped ahead a little bit with how did you guys feel? Okay. Are we going full on spoilers?
Yeah.
Okay. How did you feel about Air and how it was handled?
I thought that it was a little more like the writers. So in the original personal story, Snaff is sort of like this iconic character that has died, but you never meet him. You don't feel any attachment. Destiny's Edge is all broken up about it, but you don't really understand why if you've never read the book. And I feel like killing off Air is like they put that in there so that players could feel a character they know die off and get the feeling that they were going for originally with Air.
Mm.
So it's sort of more of a functional death than one that was, I don't want to get too insulting, but it doesn't really feel all that earned. I thought she was more of a badass than that, because the way she died was kind of running away. She gets stabbed in the back.
Yeah.
Not quite as earned as I would have liked, and it felt more functional than anything.
Well, the other part of it is that her death, you know, it's not glorious. It's not won in battle. It's not what a Norn would like to have as their death. But it seems like something that is true to the overall tone of the expansion.
Well, but it was at the hands during fighting another Elder Dragon, though.
I am glad that they're brave enough to kill off a character. Like, don't get me wrong, like, most games won't do that. Or a lot of games won't anyway. And, yeah, I'm glad ArenaNet is brave enough to kill off a major character they spent a lot of time developing. But, it just felt functional.
Yeah. Mullica Dude is saying, I feel like her death was likely one of those, not like this, not like this. And, yeah, that actually...
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm going to shoehorn this in right here. I was right. Totally called it.
We all called it. I actually bought a bunch of Air minis.
That's right. You told me you were going to speculate on them.
So I'm like, I bet Air's going to die. I'm buying a bunch of minis. And they've doubled in price.
Profiting on characters' deaths.
I'm a terrible person.
Really unethical, you monster.
I don't know. I really liked... I guess it would be kind of interesting to see if they do include Zoja more in the story going forward, because she and Air had that conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing how that might play between each other. If they include her reaction with Braum, or, you know, like, oh, maybe I was too hard on her, that sort of thing.
I mean, she had, like 3 lines total for Zoja?
She had more than that, but she sounded very weakened, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have the feeling that the original set is just being...
phased out?
Pushed out of the story completely.
Well, it kind of makes sense.
The old guard being pushed out.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised Logan didn't run away more. Like, when you're when you're fighting all the cloned Logans, I'm like, why aren't they just running away from me?
That would have been funny to be in there with a Necro and Fear. That would have been hilarious. I wanted a lot more with the cultures throughout the zones.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's probably some story that I missed with the Exalted, because it was really rare for me to get into Trier when it wasn't being attacked.
But I don't know if you were necessarily supposed to have experienced that prior to doing the story, because the story is supposed to be your introduction to them.
I think a lot of the Exalted story is told through the meta event, essentially. Like, going out, attacking the pylons, and the Exalted will talk and explain what they're doing out there, and also there are tablets inside Tyria, like 10 or 15 or 20, I'm not sure. And they all have various tidbits about the history of the city and the Exalted and other stuff.
Okay. So maybe it was just a matter of that I haven't done a whole lot of the meta event there then.
Possibly.
Yeah. I did like all of the lore that came out of doing the Druid event, though. That was really cool. With cleansing the waters.
Oh, right. I haven't done that one yet.
It's pretty good.
Backtracking a little bit, apparently Zero Kitsune in chat is saying that you get more dialogue if you take the path to save Zoja and have to fight the Zoja clones, which makes sense.
Okay.
And Malakadude is pointing out something very specific that they bring up Scruffy.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you, I cried more at Scruffy than I did in there.
It's a golem. Come on.
I totally teared up when... But Sarah was like, she didn't necessarily know it was coming. It was from behind. Scruffy made a choice.
Yeah, see, the problem is that Scruffy being disassembled was spoiled for me because I had the beginning of that instance and I had to look it up because I was like, okay, nothing's moving, nothing's happening. I ran around the entire instance like 5 times. So I had to go on Reddit and somebody was like, oh, everybody's so sad about Scruffy. And I'm like, what happened to Scruffy?
It was totally, and I was like, no, not Scruffy. It was so sad. It was one of my many gasp moments.
Going back to cultures, I was not okay with the fact that the New Hawk tribe was basically like, yeah, sure, you're cool. You can hang out with us when we got to Tangled Depths. Mm-hmm. Because all you needed to have was like one New Hawk mastery to be there.
Tizlek's telling them all about you, so...
Okay.
He's a gossipy little gossiper.
I mean, you fight... back at Itzel Village, you fight with him against the Mordrum like more than once. You fight to save his life first time, and then you go to the Itzel Village, and then you have to defend the Itzel Village, and you fight with him then.
I was also really disappointed that we didn't see anything about the other tree that Malik had come from.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I heard a lot of complaints about that from the lore types.
I was wondering when that would pop up as well. Like, honestly, I kind of thought when... Jumping ahead to the final fight, I kind of thought that we would be fighting Malik. There.
Or at some point, maybe.
And I was a little disappointed it wasn't. But then when I read your point here, Celeste, I was like, maybe raids will have something to do with this?
Maybe the other city is still out there for some distant expansion to come across.
But the thing is, Sylvari's this is the Sylvari expansion.
Yeah.
They can't keep doing that, I think. I mean, I would love to see it return in some, maybe part of the living story. Like maybe that
can become part of season 3.
Yeah, like they sense, there was something that was calling to us and we weren't sure what it was and now it's gone and And you also were saying like there wasn't
court, almost nothing.
Yeah. I agree. I would like to hear more from both of those. Fingers crossed.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
I really feel like it was such a bare bones linear story that just didn't scratch a lot of the itches that I had.
I thought it was a little short, but I thought that the quality of the individual instances was high.
Yeah. Yes.
I wasn't really disappointed by the shortness of it.
Well, and I was thinking too, with it being a bit shorter, it makes going through it on alts less onerous. Like,
sure.
I have to go through all this again. It takes forever.
The one drawback that I felt comes up because it's short is that kill Mordremoth in a very short period of time.
Yes.
So,
well, yeah. Not the actual fight.
That's the only thing that really bothered me was that, like, 1 minute the pact is pretty much destroyed, and not very long after it, you were at Mordremoth's doorstep kicking his butt.
Yeah. And then there's no real epilogue after, so there's hardly any resolution to it.
Well, I imagine that's going to come up in Living Story Season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it would have been nice to have, like, maybe a little bit more. I know, I'm being a little gripey about it, but just a little something. I wanted a little bit more flavor out of all of this.
And then when they were talking about how Mordermoth is essentially all roots, but then it's its brain that you have to attack. And I'm like, but that's circulatory system and that's heart. So if you poison, and it's called Heart of Thorns, and if you poison
Dr.
the
Allona.
heart, I know the brain is still part of the circulatory system, but it's Heart of Thorns.
It's a terrible title.
I always touted I think that miasma and poisoning Mordermoth is good. I guess it was a series of fights, and it was a series of challenges even within that fight. But in the end, it was fight. And I guess I would have liked a little bit more of a sleuthing sort of tactical.
Yeah, that wasn't really present.
Resolution.
It was just like, oh, hey, we're going to do it this way. Okay? Okay.
We're going to fight now.
Yeah.
Kubutai!
Yeah.
It's an interesting point because, like, there's a story instance in Auric Basin where you fight a few things, and then for the entire rest of the instance, you don't fight at all. It's more of it's action-based, but it's not fighting and killing stuff, which is rare for Guild Wars.
Oh, you mean when you're running away from Fallon?
Yeah.
I liked that one.
That was amazing.
It's a really good instance, but yeah, you don't kill anything, which is actually rare and interesting for them to do. But when you get to the end, it's just another fight.
Yeah.
The one thing that probably shouldn't be just a straight up fight is a fight.
Yeah.
The spinning tree.
I love that.
I understand why people liked it. It made me feel so sick. Like I was head between the knees gonna puke while trying to do the instance. So thanks, I guess.
You had tweeted about that, so I was a little bit warned. Like, you were very vague about it.
Well, I didn't want to spoil anything for people.
But as soon as I saw the spam, I'm like, oh, this is clearly what Celeste was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I found that, and this is coming from me, so it should say something, I found that really easy, because the red things on the ground, it was super easy to avoid them. If you went straight up to the vine walls and attacked them, nothing bothered you. It was just like, kill, break down wall,
you
move
could
forward.
walk around them.
Oh, and you could walk
Some
around
of them.
I didn't try that.
You could walk around.
I took them down, but like literally I was taking no damage. It was just a matter of attrition, just burnt through. So, yes, the Fallon instance was fitting. It was so good.
Probably the best instance of the expansion.
Yes, all the Auric Basin portions, I would say, were phenomenal.
Yeah, they were really good, but it did feel like it rushed you right out of the zone into the next one.
Rada Novus is pretty good too.
Yeah.
That would be the second Scrumpy. That would be the second for me.
Mm-hmm.
And really, my favorite part of going through Rowdenois is all the little lore bits and seeing the
right,
the different golems.
Yes.
Have you done the trivia?
I've not done all of them, but I have done a few. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I have.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk about the last few minutes of the expansion.
Okay.
With Traherne dying.
Mm-hmm.
My impression is kind of like it's them apologizing for the fact that the commander in the personal story took all the limelight.
Well, that's been like a repeating problem in ArenaNet stuff, is that someone else is always in charge. Cormier takes the credit.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently I'm the only person this never bothered.
You're pretty
Ever.
much.
You're totally fine playing second fiddle.
Apparently.
Well, when you think about it, you make all the decisions anyway, so why wouldn't you be the marshal of the pact? So it's kind of weird that you're
Apparently I'm used to bosses taking credit for me, and I'm just not upset about it. This might be a reflection of my professional life, too.
Yeah. So any strong feelings about Traherne?
I was bummed that, further spoilers, you killed Traherne.
Yeah.
And I was really bummed about it because, one, maybe it was the plan all along for Traherne to get to this point and have this end. This may have been even from the early kernels of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly. However, because Traherne had so many haters, this felt a little bit like pandering to the Traherne haters.
I'm not sure that it was, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
And so that part was like, oh, for God's sake. Look, everyone, you get to kill Traherne. Like, that was like...
what everybody really wanted out of this expansion, right?
Yeah, I feel like just with Air sort of fixing the thing that no major character had died aside from your mentor, they were fixing the whole, you are not the marshal of the pact. Hopefully we will be the marshal of the pact going forward.
Interesting.
That's true. If the pact actually stays together.
I think it will.
I think it needs to. Needs to. The world needs it.
Okay.
Tyria needs it.
I mean, they're putting a lot of emphasis on the guild initiative. But I think story-wise, the pack could, like, being in recovery mode would be interesting.
Oh, yeah, and again, Malakadud is saying that the reward you get is the broken Khalid Bolg, and it becomes a one-handed weapon at that point. That's very interesting. I actually never even thought about that it's no longer a greatsword. Also, you mentioned your mentor dying was the only thing that happened previous. The feels. Oh, I may have actually went, you ass. Well, for me, it was Tybalt. When Tybalt showed up.
Well, your mentor dies at, like, level...
60-ish?
50, 60.
Yeah.
So...
But I loved Tybalt.
Yeah, I was doing it on my Elementalist, and I got Siren, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like people definitely cared about that a lot more than whatever was going on with Destiny's Edge during the original personal story.
I think that's true. But then when your character with Tybalt goes like, save an apple for me, I'm like, oh my god, what are you doing to me? You just have my heart. Scruffy.
I really like Siren, but
yeah,
I don't ever hear anyone talking about Forgel.
Nope.
I really like Forgel, actually. But like, I chose Order of Whispers first, so going through the game fresh, it was Tybalt for me, and I'm sure it would have been the same for any other mentor I had.
It's whoever you have first, I think.
Finally, the final fight is in... I thought it was a tough fight. It took me almost 2 hours because of retrying, and it's not like it. If you need to restart, you start from the beginning of that specific part of the challenge. No, you start from the beginning. And you got to do it all again. Now, the first couple times that happens, you're super irritated, but then you kind of like, okay, you get the feel for how those ones go, and you do get better. So I was like, okay, fine, they're teaching me, whatever.
Yeah. No, I fought Air probably about 5 times, and by the time that we had got to it as a group, I was just like, okay, we'll do this.
Yeah. I found the most frustrating part of that fight, and I told you already about this, Celeste, that there was this cranny that I fell into that wouldn't let me jump off to die to restart the fight, and it took me 20 minutes to jump back up onto the platform. Because it was like a vertical ledge, essentially, and Marjorie fighting me, and she couldn't hit me for where I was, so she couldn't even kill me, and I was like, this is the worst. So...
Yeah, I found that, like, a lot of stuff in that instance is a little touchy. Like, I jumped into an updraft at one point. At one point, updrafts form in the center of the thing, and you can just jump right into one without needing to be higher or near a cliff. Now, the first time they came up, it's like, get to an updraft, and I'm like, went to jump off the side of the platform because you've been trained the whole time to jump off a cliff. But they're not anywhere near a cliff, so I had to turn around and run back, and I died.
Yeah. Or I found I think I was defeated twice because the launch into the air didn't work.
Trigger right, yeah.
Yeah. And I think, people are talking in chat about that. Like,
yeah, that definitely happened to me too.
Nagabunker is saying that the rift didn't trigger, so that's irritating.
Yeah.
I never had that one, thankfully, but and then when we were, so about 3 of us went in to help Celeste with her story, and the exit
instance thing, the little green circle or star kept triggering, and it was right where you needed to be to fight the darn thing
all the time.
So it's like, and it wouldn't move, so if you had the fast ground targeting, it was in the way. You couldn't target anything while it was up, And it's not like you can move that UI to, like, the bottom of your screen or something.
So you had to run further away from it, perhaps out of where you needed to be for your line of sight.
Yeah. It was just really, like, really, guys? You had to put it here? You couldn't put it up at the restart center, you know, where the moat is?
But the thing is, that wasn't there. That was not there at all when I went through on my own. And was it there when you went through with just you?
No, it's because we had people who had already done the instance.
Okay.
That's why it was there, but it was just like, this is really bad placement.
Yes. It's kind of like when they first introduced all the different nodes into the home instances, and in the human home instance, they had the
wood.
Yeah, the one tree right on top of where you had to commune to get your skill point.
Not good.
Yeah, they were like literally fused together. And so you had to like back and forth to try to activate one versus the other.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was frustrating. That said, and even when I said that I was a little disappointed it was straight up fight, it wasn't a straight up, like there were still tactics that you had to employ throughout it. And you had to, the more times you had to do it because you were defeated, you got better at them. So there's that.
Yeah, definitely. Like there was a learning curve, and the more times you died, the more repair canisters you went through, the more you learned about the fight.
I didn't use any repair canisters.
You guys had repair canisters.
No, I didn't. I didn't have any.
I purposefully got them out from my bank because
that's smart.
My Ellie's kind of squishy, so I was like buck naked a few times.
The only time I was butt naked the entire time was trying to get achievements during the foul lane chase, which can be a bit frustrating, and I got naked because she one hits.
Mm-hmm.
During the achievements or in general?
During the achievements. And in general, she one hits.
Well, she gets you one time and you're dead, so.
I will say, happened to be in the room when Cal started to do that instance with Fowlin, and he turned around to fight her. I'm like, don't fight, just run. Just run! He was like, oh, okay. So he turns around and starts running. So, all in all, I actually think they did a really good job with the story for this expansion. I think there's definitely more. I'm really curious to see what it'll be like going through on a Sylvari.
It's different, obviously.
You actually became red to us for a while.
Yeah. And there's parts where you kind of black out because you're under so much influence from Mordramoth.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and if you're going to go through as a Sylvari, and you have issues with the drunk wavy effects, turn off your post-processing. Just so you know, folks.
I would argue that you were having a crazy hard time with the final fight. I would argue that the Sylvari part of that was pretty significant.
Yeah, there was a lot going on there. So I think we're going to go ahead and close out the episode here, guys. Real quick, Surviving the Mist is next week. And the game is still on for creating your own Black Lion weapon set. It could be one weapon, but I kind of left it open for a weapon set theme, as you like.
Yep, we've had a couple entries sent through.
Yep. So send those out. Email, all that good stuff. Twitter, Facebook, whatever.
Congrats to Grumpy Gang? What was it?
Gump's Gang. It's like what my grandma says. I really like that Pippi shoestring.
Oh, God. Yes, and congrats for winning your Heart of Thorns Ultimate Edition. And thank you, Hunter, for coming by and spending time with us and giving that away.
I guess.
Oh my God.
That's straight on Hunter.
Oh, that Hunter.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Come on.
Uh-huh. Thank you, Allona, for coming back again this week.
Thank you.
And thank you, chat room, for sticking around and staying through all of the spoilers and even after the giveaway to hang out with us. Appreciate it.
Very nice to have so many people pop out.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for downloading the show. We hope that you enjoyed it. We hope that you come back again next week. But most importantly, we hope to see you in-game.
May the Six watch over you.
So if you have a community event that you would like for us to share, please send us an email.
The Legion calls.
And if you've got a burning question for our Ask an Azura segment, let us know.
Seize the moment.
And so now let's go ahead and talk about our sponsor.
More people should learn to barter.
If you are in dire need of audiobooks, or just, you enjoy books with sound, you can go to audibletrial.com/MMOreporter and you'll get a free audiobook.
I'm selling. You buying?
And if you use the coupon code MMOReporter at doghousesystems.com, you will get an additional 120 gig SSD drive for free on your next build, and or possibly a Superstar Destroyer.
No free samples.
So if you're in love with the show or the network, consider becoming a patron on our Patreon page. You should definitely check it out. Patreon.com/MMOReporter.
Let's see the color of your coin.
So, Allona, if people want to get into contact with us to share their questions, answers, or corrections, how could they do so?
They can email us at gwreporter@MMOreporter.com. Twitter is @GWReporter. Our website is guildwarsreporter.com. You can leave us a voicemail at 616-666-6778. YouTube is MMO Reporter Network, and remember to like our videos and subscribe to the GW Reporter playlist. And while you're hanging out there, try some of the other shows. You might find something you like. Facebook is GW Reporter. Tumblr is gwreporter.tumblr.com.
You must visit more often.
And you can visit us on Twitter. I am at OneBigPear, as in the fruit.
And I am at Selyuki.
In a world where you can visit us on Twitter, I am Ultra at Ultratown.
Or at Hunter's Insight, one word.
You're kidding, right?
Or you can find us in-game, where I am Selyuki.5046.
And I'm OneBigPear.1249.
And I am Ultratown.5683.
Incredible!
And you can get me in-game at Hunt, H-U-N-T, I forget my user display name or whatever.
I can't believe it.
Until next time.
Yes, that's right. So, thank you for coming and watching the video, and we hope to see you in-game. In addition to the...
Okay. So,
you know what time it is? Giveaway time!
It's giveaway time.
Giveaway time. Giveaway
what
time
is it?
Giveaway time.
I guess we're giving something away. So what are you guys giving away?
We're not giving away nothing.
Yeah.
You are giving away something.
Okay. Oh, my impression of Celeste.
Oh, that's a good one.
Hey guys, I'm from Texas. Pew 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 pew. Yeehaw.
Oh, Celeste, it's so funny because it's not true.
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOreporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOreporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.